right, guys. Quick shout out here. My MetaFi is home of all the guest primers, all the free tournaments, all the giveaways, and all my personal guides. These guys in front of you are freshly updated over there. You see Issa Tempo, Beanstalk Control, Jeskai Wizards, Eldrazi Aggro, Blue-Eyed Riddler, Demir Tempo, Affinity, Omniscience. All these and more you find over on my MetaFi. Use code ECO50 for a juicy 50% off your first month as a Book Smart Baron. I can't wait to see you over there. All right, guys, let's play some more Legacy, cast blue cantrips, and hopefully get over the finish line here. I have yet another tempo version lined up here. It's kind of funny you can play blue-red in multiple flavors these days. This flavor is a flavor from Magic Online player IB True, who's been playing Blue-Red X forever. I really like a lot of what's going on here, including the exact same main deck. This deck's spice is the Questing Druid. This card is, in a perfect world, a 3-for-1. You get 2 cards and a body afterwards. In practice, play this out a little bit differently. That's certainly not the average, but that is the ups, the potential of the card. In order to support the green side of the card, we only have a single tropical, so there's a little bit of fail rate there. But in general, you want to cast this card in response, so Force of Will and Daze become good hits. But in a perfect world, I guess you just hit like a land and a 1-drop and you keep chucking, and then the 1/1 can arrive with the Quirion Dryad mode at some point and hopefully take over the game. It's adding a little bit to our threat density. Of course, we have the 8 1-drops. We're a Daze Force deck. We have Murktides on top. 19 land mana base with a single Surveil, pretty standard stuff. And then this flex slots I consider Negation, Pyroblast, and Unholy Heat. Those are cards I want in my 75. So by playing this version, I have more room in the main deck for cards like that, and then that gives me more sideboard space for cards like these. So what IB True was also doing was running 2 Core Seal Cutters in the sideboard. I actually buy into that idea. It's good in any fair matchup. Then my take on the deck is adding a Sweeper. I also have an Abrade, so a little bit of chalice removal, a little bit of mising against go wide aggro. 3 Pyros total, 2 Negations total, 2 Surgicals, 2 Hydras, 2 Consigns, pretty standard from Ram Sitting, and up to 2 Unholy Heats for opposing Barrowglyphs in any creature deck, really. So, yeah, let's see if we can get over the finish line with classic Issa Tempo. All right, we're on the draw for round 1. I'm playing Izzet, and this hand looks just fine. The difference between this hand on the play and on the draw is huge. Imagine I play first, Chandler, Bauble, get into the game, Daze the first spell, wasteland my opponent down, or deploy a second Chandler. A lot better. Now we have to hope our opponent doesn't get out swinging here on the first turn of the game. It's still a keep, though. Let's see what we're up against. Flooded Strand. Okay, so that's probably bad news. Let's see. Because I don't have my second land, I want to cash in this Bauble. If I had the second land, I probably wouldn't do it, to be honest. Then I would wait for next turn. Let's get rid of that Bauble. I think my opponent will Surveil here. But they don't. Oh, interesting. So the reason to slow roll the Bauble is exactly that. Let's see if I just get got by Orcish Bowmasters entirely. I was 100% sure this was going to hit the bin. But I guess if you're playing blue-black and you can see a trap here, yeah, I mean, I love it. Great play. Okay, I guess not. So now this will die regardless. Let me just see what the opponent also has Bowmasters. Yeah, this is tough. This is very tough. So at least I get to wasteland my opponent and play Chandler. Main deck Pyroblast is the draw. I think I'm supposed to play like this. Play Chandler. And now I should wasteland the scene now. I think my opponent will shuffle away the whatever it's called, Bowmasters. But let's see if I'm right about that. This is probably the time to Surveil. Oh, this looks like it's time to Fatal Push with this timing. Okay, never mind. So the opponent likes the card. I'm willing to go to war for this channeler, meaning dazing and forcing, to be honest. Okay. I don't think my opponent has Bowmasters. Then they would have ran it out there. Force a will. I don't know. This seems very all in. Because I can interact a million times. Let's see if I can play a Murktide at the end of that rainbow. Brainstorm on the end step. Is this where I Pyroblast to get Delirium? I think it very well may be. Let's counter the Brainstorm. There's a land that I need for Murktide Regent. So let's do that. Reach Delirium. So now I'm at a stage of a game where I actually don't care about Orcish Bowmasters. So I'm kind of hoping my opponent has put it off to beat Daze. Let's see. Okay, Murktide Regent. This is something I have to force a will. How big is this card? This card is a 5/5. So force a will, pitch Daze is going to be my play. I'm going to keep the lane on top of my deck. Let's see if the opponent has the Daze. They don't. That's huge for me. Now the question is, do I play out a 5/5? Should I play out a 5/5 here? Yeah, I think I should. I should try and capitalize. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave artifact. Does that sound right? Yeah, let's leave artifact. The thing is, my opponent doesn't have Fatal Push right now, but by getting this into play, I make Fatal Push a bad draw later, essentially. So it looks like if the opponent had something here, they would have fought over it. And here comes Baragoyf, is my guess. Here comes Baragoyf. So it is possible the opponent just didn't care about Murktide, and now... Let's see. I should probably put this in the graveyard. It's very possible. This looks like a Desperate Brainstorm. Yep. Okay. So how big is the Baragoyf right now? It looks to be a 4/5 when this instant hits the battlefield. Okay, that was huge for me. So let's see if we can keep the engine running here. We can't. But we can attack for 6. So that means if my opponent casts yet another Baragoyf, I will base. Let's get this land back to hand. Daze, because if I hit a new type here, my opponent's dead in the air. Well, this card bounces to Baragoyf, so that should be better than a random card, right? The opponent has to pay here. And then I have to hope that my opponent's Magic Brainstorm didn't come up with a Daze. Or, if that happens, that I mill over a land or sorcery here with the Brazen. So, lots of ways to get there. Let's see. Let's bounce that card, see if I can mill a land. Can't. So now the opponent's at 1. The Baragoyf doesn't help now because of Murktide. The opponent needs a removal spell on a blocker or double removal spell. Stabilize here. Baragoyf is not going to do it. Then the opponent needs a land, Brazen, and then land the Baragoyf. And I can't draw land. Yeah, this looks like we barely got there, but let's see if I'm right. Did we barely get there, opponent? The opponent's trying to figure out if they can have the Magic Brainstorm or Ponder here. Bowmasters and Brazen does the trick. lots of things here will get the job done, but a lot of those cards I feel like my opponent would already have cast if they had it. I guess that Brainstorm could have seen some of those, but let's see. Apparently it's a hard one here, so I'm assuming the opponent has counterplay and we you know, get to see more magic. So yeah, just super all in, double forcing, dazing into the abyss. Wastelanding to prolong the game, hopefully make days live. Try and fate some bowmasters. Yeah, it's really tight. This matchup is not the best. Pretty interested in what kind of play the opponent has, because the Murktide is a must-kill. I mean, they could have a Murktide. That's not crazy. Okay. Now what? Here's a chum blocker. Okay. Well, that is something that stabilizes the game, probably. Let's see if I can get there with the fetch. I hit the sorcery like an absolute champ of the game. Nice draw. Nice draw. So, Mill Delver, get to Delirium here with the Ponder, even a Bolt for good measure. Very nice. Uh-huh. All right. So, the opponent wasn't able to stabilize despite drawing 2 Barragoyfs and a Murktide Regent. That was a pretty good showing for my deck. And against blue-black, I like these 5, and I don't like my forces. Do I have a 6th card? I don't. So I have to have... wait a minute. Oh yeah, I cut a daze, so I have to keep in 3 dazes. Okay, I got lost there with the main deck negation, I think. So now I have 3 Pyros, 2 Heats, and a Braid Quad Bolt. 3 dazes for the stack. Can't really do much better here. I guess in theory I could have the 4th Pyro and a 2nd Brazen somewhere in the flex slots, but I think this is a pretty realistic tempo mirror sideboard plan. I could start playing cards like Unable to Scream and what have you, but I think in general that's overreacting. I think it's a lot better to just have a, you know, a fine chance, sure, in the opponent's favor, but have it like a decent coin toss and then try and play it out. Because you're only playing against this deck, 15% of the time or whatever. If you think you have to face it, I don't know, a third of the time, I think this just becomes a bad deck choice. So let's try and think about this. If the opponent goes... The only hand this is good against is like Underground Sea, Underground Sea, Ponder, Underground Sea, Thoughtseize. Then I might get to waste the land, crack the bauble, and get into the game, but I think it's better to mulligan, even though I really, really don't like mulliganing. The Druid is a way to catch up. I feel like I should get rid of Brazen for later. All right, let's see if we get cooked here. Also worth noting, I can't kill Tamio turn 1 here with this draw. Because Unholy Heat is not, Boulder Pyro. Yeah, that card is a big, big trouble card. I should... Yeah. I'll try and play the Delver here. This is really bad. As in, incredibly bad, because I can't play the game and my opponent has a Tamio. And even if I draw land, which is my best draw, I still can't beat the Tamio, so... This is probably going to be a short one. How can I win this game? It's probably something like the opponent flips the Tamio. I find land Pyroblast somewhat soon. And then I guess the opponent has a bad draw, but yeah, no. This is really bad. I guess my best draw is land. Then what do I do from there? I'd probably play Quarry Steel. Let's see if the opponent double ponders here. That could change my end game a little bit. They don't. Okay. Let's see what we have here. We have Flooded Strand. That's not a bad one. So let's attack. Let's play out the cutter and kind of hope to stress out. Should have done this first main, by the way. Let's go for a second red to bolster that. I should have done this first main because now there's no threat of a bauble. The opponent knows that. So that was just giving free info. I don't like that. My instinct was here that I didn't think all the way through. If I played first main phase bauble, cutter, the opponent will kill the Delver in response with a fatal push. And I didn't want that, but I think it's way more important than that the opponent could have made a choice there and say, oh, second main phase cutter, that's not that dangerous because there's no bauble coming, right? Otherwise, my opponent would have played it on first main. Okay, so with all of that being said, an artifact has now hit the bin, which is not nothing for Unholy Heat. Let's see what... Okay, so we end up flip with the days here. It's probably a pretty good draw. Let's play out... This is probably a Seek the Beast turn, but I'm not sure about it. Seek the Beast on the opponent's end step or in response to whatever, I think is quite strong here. Okay, let's try that. So we're currently getting a little bit buried in cards, but I can kind of fight with that with Seek the Beast. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. Now, was I supposed to play Seek the Beast on my own end step there with my opponent being tapped out? Or is it good to wait? Who knows? The cool thing about how this is worded is, if I go for it on my own end step, I still have them for the duration of my opponent's turn and my next turn. So if you think your opponent's holding like a Hydroblast or whatever, you can find a window on your own end step sometimes. I'm currently trying to get to Delirium so I can kill Cameo, which is a little bit weird because that could just get, you know, totally countered. So now we're entering Kaito territory, which I don't like. What is going on here? It looks like the opponent's trying to play defense and like block Brainstorm. End step Seek the Beast. Let's see what the opponent has to say about that. They know about the days, right? Yep, they know about the days. Here's Hydroblast. They do look a little silly here. Sure. Now, I want to play Chandler first here because in case my opponent brainstorms, I will... No, I won't, because I only have 3 types down there. Huh. I'm not sure I'll go for the heat. I mean, I could if I start dazing to get an instant. Okay. Yeah, you got it. So here's a... What is the opponent doing here? So now they're just brainstorming, and I get to heat the Cameo, I guess. But daze doesn't work. It works on the opponent's side. Okay. This is probably pretty important for the game, what happens with this Unholy Heat. I am not sure how I played here was worth the getting to Surveil, but that's magic sometimes. I don't like the pause. Land into the graveyard. Yeah, I'll put a land into the graveyard. Let's see if they have the days. They'll be backbreaking. Super backbreaking. No days. Okay, so we're in business here. I have 6 power worth of flyers here. They know about the days. If they fire Fatal Push end of turn, I kind of know what's up. They will do that if they have Fatal Push, Baragoyf, but no land. But they don't do that. That's very good news for me. Let's see how they get back into this game. Probably by, yep, removal spells. Killing that. Playing Wasteland. Let's see. Cameo, that's fine. And the opponent likes mana to crack clues here rather than, you know, hurt my mana. Here's Bauble. I feel like I should cast Murktide Regent here before doing anything else. That's a 4/4. That's not impressive. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more apparently. So, getting maybe a land is easy to get later. Okay, Murktide Regent. So now let's attack with Delver. That's the matchup, right? You have to reduce your opponent's life total, otherwise bad things are going to happen between... Okay, so here's the opponent forcing the issue on a petty theft. Snuff out. Okay. The opponent has one card. That but the opponent also just gave me a free mana, I think. I don't think I played a land this turn. I'm a little bit confused here. This one into the abyss, what does that mean? Hardcast Kaito, or? Because they knew about the days from flipping the Delver, or yeah, way back. Chum block to save life total. Interesting. Play Delver. So now, how do I feel about Orcish Bowmasters? How do I feel about Orcish Bowmasters? With the way this game played out, does it make sense that the opponent's last card is exactly Orcish Bowmasters? Because if it is, I get super cooked. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to hang on to the Bauble here. I feel like it's kind of my opponent's move, so if they pass the turn, I actually think I'm doing nothing. I guess then they kill the small Delver. I think we take that. Okay, here's Baragoyf. The opponent jump block because it didn't want to die to Bolt. So now if I find a Bolt, I'm winning. Oh, let's see. Let's have a look. Petty theft. So I need a land underneath here. So I'm supposed to draw first because we know that doesn't flip the Delver. And then let's see. Bolt or land? That is probably not going to cut it. There is the Bolt. So let's see. Go to 3, go to 8. Yeah, so I have to believe that's enough, I guess. Huh? All right, I have to hope my opponent draws absolutely nothing. On draw step Baragoyf activation. Bowmasters would be okay though. What else would be okay? Not anything, I think. Another Baragoyf is also fine. This counts as nothing. So don't daze me, bro. Let's see. Let us see if you found a daze in the meantime. Yeah, beating double Baragoyf 2 games in a row is not normal, but it's also not impossible. You just have to understand you need to count to 20. Sometimes you need to count to 25. And then you can maybe get the job done. That was a really, really sweet match to start off the video. Let's see if we can keep supplying more interesting stuff. Guys, last month I launched my YouTube membership program. You can become a YouTube Baron. For $5 per month, you get Metagame Monday After Dark, where I basically dissect all the numbers from Metagame Monday, turn them into actual solutions for us to win tournaments in the week to come. And then I have this juicy series with Eureka Eyes on the Prize, where we replay the 5 challenge finals every week. So basically, we get to see some championship action week after week. So that's 2 additional videos for the cost of $5 per month. I can highly recommend. But wait, there's more. When I get to 100 members, I will give away this awesome artist proof signed Kappa Cannoneer. Beautiful card, a retro frame hollow. If you want to be in that draw, go become a YouTube Baron. I hope to see you over there. All right, more is a Delver with Questing Druid coming your way. Even though this hand doesn't tell that story, but we keep this hand because against half of the format, Bolt is good. Against another half, Force is good. Problem is, they're not good against the same decks, so we will need to, ooh, yeah, this could be very, very troublesome. All right, let's see what we can do here. Abysmal draw, probably. We're on land hunt and threat hunt, which is a problem. I'll take the land here. So basically, I'm hoping to play against like Tamiyo, Failure stuff, because then at the very least, my bolts are live. Okay, now it's more questionable with Prismatic Vista Pass. If I get stifled here, it is what it is, but I think it's time to find a Surveil land. Third land, I don't like. Usually, Prismatic Vista deck is not a wasteland deck. Okay, I draw my own wasteland here, which is kind of cool. So I think how I should play this is waste first. If they play a Failure, I kill it. If not, I ponder second main. Try and shift phases. My opponent fetches and plays a dog. I kill it. Not the case. All right. Here's Ponder. There's a Delver. So I should play like this, where if I have to double force, I'll get rid of the forces, and then I draw Brainstorm underneath the Delver after flipping it. In general, this is very late in the game that I'm applying any sort of pressure. I could see myself being in a position where I now need to like force a will, a force of plowshares on a Delver, which is terrible. Those bolts are bad. I don't have Cutter in my deck. So this version is just a little bit worse against bear decks. That's just how the game goes. Here's the aforementioned plow, and I have to shamefully force a will it, pitching a force. Oh. Dress down is all good. Am I playing against Jeskai Wizards? I love that deck. So they instep that card. And they do play Wasteland and Prismatic Vista deck, so never mind. Is this Dreadnought? I just realized this is Phyrexian Dreadnought. That's amazing. Oh, yeah, I was late to the party on that one. I think it's Phyrexian Dreadnought. Yikes. And here comes a very powerful Daze. I can't pay. That's the name of the game. So we try again. Phyrexian Dreadnought. So Abrade is amazing. What else? Consigned Memory is amazing. Yeah, I guess my deck is fine. I just didn't do anything the first turns. Now I'm flipping with Brainstorm. But I don't really have a way to kill that card. Phyrexian Dreadnought. That's pretty cool. I have no idea how I can even do this. Because I can only take 1 hit from that card. So this is 6 damage. This is 6 damage. Yeah, I'm just off here. Even if I do find like another Delver or Channeler, the Dreadnought is too fast. Okay. Correction Dreadnought. Easy deck. I didn't expect to run into that deck. Let me put it that way. I want my blasts. I want the abrade. Heat, I think, is terrible. Sign is awesome. That's 5 cards. As I said, I think the heat is quite bad. Relying on days is probably bad, so I can do something like this. Do I want Core Steel Cutter? Tough question. What is the best? Cutter or Druid? I think Druid is slightly better, but probably close. Also, I don't know if my opponent's playing Thralls. I don't know if my opponent's playing actual Stifles. Should I expect my opponent to be a Tamiyo deck? Maybe. I don't mind cutting a Bolt and to fit something else. Is that 3rd days? Is that the first cutter? We can play 1 cutter. I don't think that is terrible. Let's try this. Yeah, Correction Dreadnought. My game 1 setup is very bad against Dreadnought. I have 1 Brazen Borrower. Alright, this is already better because I have a turn 1 creature. So now the game is not, you know, draw, go, and waiting to die. Don't tell Harain, by the way. If I lose to Dreadnought, don't tell Harain. And I'll never hear the end of it. Oh no, with the first mulligan. I would guess the deck is like 4 plows, 2 endings. I'll most likely double bobble unless I magically hit my Core Steel here as the top card. I don't. I hit a Force of Will. I'm actually gonna take that card. And now because of that, I will not crack this bobble now because I know I want the next card, so I think it's just slightly better to wait. It's very good for me to know about these days. Let's see what this is. This could be the opponent killing the Chandler, which I would not enjoy. All right. Chandler dead. The opponent did fetch a Tundra, so I should probably smell blood here. Let's see. What is the opponent going to draw? An island. Well, I still think this is going to be my play. Pass. Lightning Bolt looks super sketchy against my opponent's deck, but I think between just they will put Tamiyo in any deck, Logic, and then maybe it's a Thrall deck. I think it's okay, but it obviously looks incredibly bad now. The opponent's holding up Daze, which I don't necessarily like. I should probably not expose the well, I'm okay exposing the green here. I feel like the logic is if I get wastelanded on the green, well, at least I have red mana for future Pyrogoyfs, Chandlers, etc. But it's pretty annoying. But here just looks like I think I solved the case. I think the opponent has double Daze because on turn 1 they could have just fetched planes, but they didn't. Even though they had at least one of these islands, right? Yeah, I think the opponent has 2 Dazes. It's pretty interesting. Let's see what I can use that info for. Still like the draw go here. I will Questing Druid next turn. I wonder what I'd do if my opponent end steps dressed down here. I didn't have to think about that now. Okay, so the opponent just had a bunch of lands. That's fine. Let's see if I'm right about the double D's. Here's Seek the Beast. I expect to get double dazed with the way they played. Oh, God. These cards are simply just abysmal, simply terrible. And I don't even think I'm supposed to cast. I mean, I'll just bolt, right? That's fine. Pass the turn. If my opponent end steps dress down, I mean, then I cash in the Force, but they're not going to do that because that would not be smart. Wait a minute. Oh, this went away or what? How does that work? Until your next end step. So they kind of asked that. Okay, they made that. Okay. Let's want to force a will, and I think I should pitch the brainstorm. I don't. Is that the right move? Yeah, I think so. Force will pitch brainstorm here feels very bad. Do they have Pyro in the deck? They don't. Okay. So I know about Daze, which makes a lot of my plays very bad because imagine I go Questing Druid. I need Consign to, prevent the Dreadnought from happening, but then I just get dazed on the Consign. So, but this also puts me in a place where most spells are good and, a land is even fine. So let's see. Land here would be decent, actually. Huh, now I have an answer for... Now I have an answer for Resolved Dreadnought. I don't know. I'll try and play this. I think waiting around is generally quite bad. And if this gets plowed, it's whatever. Don't dress down, bro. Yeah, I think I'm in trouble now. I had the second dress down. That was very strong. I think I'm in big trouble. Here's a brainstorm. So this signals to me that the opponent has Null Drifter, the way they brainstorm end of turn, because Null Drifter is a very mana-intensive card. The beautiful thing is I can't beat any of those cards, so it doesn't matter too much what they actually have. Here's Phyrexian Dreadnought. Okay, so they play one Dreadnought. Now I will let the dress down die, and then I'll probably just cast Lightning Bolt, because why not? Cast Lightning Bolt. And then I guess I'm checking to see if my opponent wants to daze. I mean, I need a screenshot here. This is hilarious. All right, my opponent plays Divert, and now my Questing Druid is dead. That is hilarious. Really awesome play. So now that is dead. My opponent's hand is Daze and 2 unknowns. Can I resolve a Braid? Can I resolve a Braid? Destroy target artifact. What are the 2 other cards? Is it the second Daze? That would be terrible. All right, Hydro. Okay, so I got super cooked when I decided to play that Questing Druid, but I think once I drew the Abrade, the play was good. Sometimes you just get cooked, right? If I pass there and I get to consign the Dreadnought, I'm the one laughing and we have a game 3, but instead, I'm super dead here. All right, good game, sweet deck has been typed, and we have one more match to go. All right, last round of the video. Yeah, this is a bad habit of losing the die roll with this Daze deck. I have another hand that I'm supposed to keep and then hope things develop nicely from here. Lots of bad stuff can happen. My mana is fragile. My opponent could be playing a combo deck, etc., but that's what we have to live with. That's not a good sign for the home team. Okay, so we're playing against Eldrazi. Hopefully they play... Okay, Fleshraker. That's pretty annoying. Let's see if there's more petals in this draw. Is this a chalice? That would be insane. It's not a chalice. Well, I think I'm supposed to play Delver here. Now the question becomes, I play this game on a 1 mana. Guess I'll try in case I get wastelanded. Do I believe in this daze for the next turn? Or do I believe I need to flip my Delver? Let's see. My opponent's drawing Thoughtnuts here. They have 4 mana on board. I'll pass here and hope to connect with the days. The opponent has no lands, but it's gonna be a tough one. I draw Force Will. That's a pretty good draw. Let's see if there's a cavern in my future to completely ridicule. Okay. That card was unfortunately another fear of mine. So they take days out of the equation. So now I should probably look at my top card to learn more here. That is a land. Not bad, not bad. This will make a token. I just don't believe in that days. Let's see. Let's see if that pays off for him. The opponent gets the 1/1. I get pinged. The opponent can attack. And the game is super low resource. So let's see. I should draw the card first because I know it doesn't flip the Delver. Can we flip the Delver here? That would be amazing. We cannot. So now let's ponder. We don't flip next turn either, but I do play a 5/5, and that should be good enough. So now we are hoping to not get run over. How can we win this game? We can win this game if the opponent has 2 expensive cards in hand. We can win this game if the opponent has colored cards in hand. If they just keep playing the game here, we're probably cooked. But I can live with that. So now, can we set up a Delver flip? I'm not sure we can. The opponent has 5 mana. I hope your last card is a red card. Otherwise, I'm a little bit in trouble. Okay, it is a red card, or a K command, I guess. What happens if so I have Brainstorm Delver on top. Am I wastelanding this turn, or am I Murktiding? I think I'm Murktiding. Okay. Let's just draw, not reveal the Murk. Then I'm gonna fetch a red. Okay, here's the K command. Yeah, this is a big yeah, the K command I was so sure about. Okay, well, let's attack here. I can't really worry about the K command. That's the thing. I mean, I can, but it's not. I don't think it's a winning play. So let me play out what I believe to be a 5/5. Yes. I think the opponent has a little bit too many pauses here, though. I think I'm in trouble. This is one of those games where if I slow down, how does the game look? Like, these pauses are just. This is exactly how you need to play if you don't have it. Okay, let's try and understand the situation a little bit better. They played out City of Traders. If they don't have anything to use the mana on, I think that's just bad. Because that's a land that would kill itself later. They have that card. Oh, and here it comes. Okay, so the opponent responds here because they kind of know I have a bad card that I'm shuffling away. Yeah, this is really interesting. So here comes K command, probably killing the Delver and looking. I don't know. Let's see. So if that card makes 2 tokens, think I have to counter it to stay in this game. K command X2. Oh, wait a minute. The opponent is trying to quote unquote counter our Murktide here. Okay. Does that change anything for me? Because they're predicting me to play a 5/5, which is right. So what if I just play a 3/3 and keep playing? Is that crazy? Maybe I should just play a 3/3 flyer here to stop the beats down. Huh. Interesting. The thing is, now I can expect my opponent to draw a good card. Can I beat a good card? Wait a minute. So they didn't get rid of those cards, or what? I don't know what on earth is going on here. I will play my dragon. Wait a minute. Didn't the opponent choose that mode? Target players exile up to X cards from graveyards. I don't know what happened there. Now what? The opponent plays another Fleshraker. That is... could be too much. Could be too much. Let's see. Was that the card they kept on top? They don't have a follow-up. That's awesome for me. So you're saying there's a chance. I should cast this card to try and flip the Delver. I succeed doing that. So wait a minute. 8. Attack with every attack. I mean, if I play Druid, I can attack to 4. I think I'm supposed to do like this. Flip. And now what? Because I need to deal 18. I think I can only attack with Delver. Guess I need defense as well. So fetch the Trop. I'm clowning a little bit here. Because that Druid is never going to get through. Yeah, that was not smart. I shouldn't have fetched there. I should have waited. So do that, end step, seek the beast probably. 3 now, and then 8 plus 8 is my target. I lost a little bit of track here. That fetch was terrible. Because I was not supposed to play out a 1/1 there. So if I do that, I force my opponent's next spell. I have a 2/2 on defense. So basically, if this is something that does not trigger, like, if this is Bombardier, that's the best thing that can ever happen to me. Okay, this is not Bombardier. This is serious. What is this? Oh. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. This pings... This pings me twice. Okay. And now I will seek the beast. Nice draws. Wasteland is probably an insane draw. Let's see. What happens if I go Druid, Ponder? I should do that, right? Druid, Ponder. Because the only way I can win this game is if I escape in the air, so to speak. I already have a wasteland. Maybe I have to make my opponent completely unable to cast spells, and that's how I win, actually. So I don't think I need this land, so maybe like this. Let's see. Then wasteland the temple. Try and strand parts of my opponent's hand, essentially. Now, what happens if I attack with both flyers? Then I have the opponent casts one spell, I get pinged to 3, they attack me dead. So I can't beat one well, if the opponent has one spell, I'm dead if I attack with both. But if I don't, I give them more time to cast that one spell, right? Let's see. If I attack for 3 here, they're at 12. The next turn... Yeah, I think I'm just postponing the inevitable here. Okay, so now... I should have done this math before, obviously, but I'm basically saying you need to cast a spell now. So I can only win if my opponent's stuck with 3 drops and above. Otherwise, I'm toast. Because I get pinged twice, I block 1, I take 3, yeah. But if I wait, they just have more time to draw like a random peddler, a random chalice. I mean, I'm either, you know, one of us are dead here. That's the point. So now I think the opponent made a mistake here. If they have a play post-combat, they don't. Okay. Yeah, we got lucky here. We got lucky. We could only win if the opponent either had 2 uncastables or 2 lands in that spot. So pretty cool game to have on camera. I love the... Okay, let's start with what I really don't like. I think dazes are really unreliable. I think the negation is probably not where I want to be, but I might have to be there. Pyro, certainly not. So now these 4 for sure. Let's think about the last card. Unholy Heat kills, you know, Flesh Raker, kills Thought-Knot Seer. It's not bad. It's not bad. Questing Druid in this matchup is questionable. Where Quarry Steel is serviceable. So maybe something like this. I think this is fine. I have my heats. I have the price. All right. Yeah, that was by a hair. By a hair. All right. We have to keep this. This is losing to a hand that has sustainable mana and casts creatures over and over. This is decent against somebody with fragile mana. I'm not exactly hoping to counter a turn 1 chalice, but there exists games where, you know, they crack a pedal to make that play. Eldrazi Temple is a card I'm pretty excited about wastelanding. That draw is abysmal. Land number 5. Yeah, let's wasteland here. I don't love it, but let's wasteland. We're trying to kind of get back into the game by exchanging draw steps and then hoping mine is better than my opponent's. The Tropical Island draw, though, doesn't exactly make that more likely. Ooh. City of Traders here is not the best land. So I have to counter that card. And now their mana base can kind of fall over. Guess they have to kill their own land probably in this game. The Brazen Borrower is usually not the best card, but it's actually fine here, because if they play a land here, I guess even against this, it's decent. So a 1/1 Chandler trying to go the distance. Yeah, this is absolutely abysmal. I will need to get out of this somehow. So my opponent killing their own mana base is one way to do it. Eldrazi Linebreaker. Feel like I should just bounce that and then try and beat the Chalice the old-fashioned way. Fetch. Is this where I get Island? I think it's fine to get Volcanic. Let's Petty Theft the Linebreaker. Well, that is a creature. The thing is, I have Brazen Borrower next turn. What about if I work on Delirium instead? But then again, this is just a 4/4, so maybe I should just keep this. Alright, let's keep that card. Play out a 4/4 on my turn. Worth noting is I give up on surveilling here, so I've now blown a couple of fetches without actually being able to surveil, but I feel like this is a game where my opponent is, you know, they kind of need like an Ancient Tomb or a Temple here to be, you know, competitive to what I have going on here. Okay, so now the opponent can play Fleshraker, but some of the other Eldrazi's are a little bit awkward to play. Okay. Now they can play whatever they want. Let's see. If I get bounced here, it's annoying. Most other stuff I'm fine with. Also worth noting, the opponent does not have double colorless here because of Petal being, you know, a Lotus. This is a strange game where, okay, Monolith. I mean, yeah, now the opponent can unload a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't have the days there. They have to pass. Interesting. Okay, well, Misty Rainforest is a surveil, but it's land number 8 or something this game. It's really bad. The opponent's at 13. I pass, and they know about the extra flyer in the adventure zone. What are they doing here? That deck is very capable of having kills over a couple of turns with that card and, you know, Fleshraker or whatever, but I guess they don't have Fleshraker. Is this Thought-Knot Seer? Oh, wow. They had to tap Monolith to even play that card. That's very bad. So I take 4. I end step the 3/1. I surveil. And I find a live card. I can't. That is potentially a live card. Let's see if we can find the magic type. Pretty good. Pretty good. So now let's do the math here. The problem is my only blocker. Oh, dang, I botched it. Oh, that's sick. That's well deserved. So what I was supposed to do here was understand the danger level and then not build Delirium on the first main phase, but simply just attack for 7 in the air here, leaving back Chandler as a blocker for whatever the opponent can play out. So now I end up putting my opponent to what? To 3? And they can kill me if they have like a big command or whatever. Now I can actually lose the game. And I just told you guys, this deck could find some 2 attack step kills through Linebreaker. Then they tapped the Monolith, and all of a sudden, I seemingly had nothing to worry about. Let's see if we lose here because of that. The opponent did miss a land drop last turn, so... Yeah, I wish I was more aware there, because if I have this back as a jump blocker, or even a trade blocker, attack for 7 in the air, the opponent's at 6... I have them dead in 2 turns, and I don't lose to some big creature that gets haste via the Linebreaker. So a little bit sloppy here, but that's Magic the Gathering, and we're here to learn, so hopefully you did that today. All right, that was very, very cool revisiting Issa Tempo featuring the Questing Druid. I'm not sure, it didn't really perform that well, but I also see the potential, so yeah, I guess you can be the judge of that. If you like what I'm doing over here, feel free to become a YouTube member. You will get tons of extra videos to every single week. And of course, my Metafy has all the guides, all the guest primers, free tournaments, the best community ever. So consider that as well. I would happily see you over there. With that being said, thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you back very, very soon for some more sweet, sweet Legacy action.